Hello everybody, this is Metro Killer here with my second installment of my Blacklight receiver builds and tips tutorials. This week I'm doing the bolt action rifle. Now I know you're saying that for in traditional terms the bolt action, you really don't do much with it. You pretty much are just a dedicated sniper. Hopefully in this video I'll actually show that you can actually have a little bit more fun with it. But starting off here, the first build here is the dedicated sniper build, featuring damage below dedicated sniper builds. You need to have at least a damage of at or below 180. Otherwise, you're gonna have issues with the move spread. As you can see, going up. Anything over 180 will start driving it up significantly. So keep that in mind while you're building your bolt action. Dedicated sniper builds, you want your recoil to be low, as recoil is also linked directly to your fire rate, and having a higher fire rate is always a good thing as a dedicated sniper. Magazines are kind of your choice kind of thing. They can, I kind of always either like express or extended. Yeah, forget my words. I was going to talk about this scope here. This scope, can't remember its name, the ESK04XL. I've noticed personally when I'm using that scope that every so often I feel like it's actually not centered correctly. It's the only one I feel like that, which is an issue obviously in long range. I actually did pretty well with it recently, so I guess I'm not entirely sure, but if you ever feel like that too, the GP4 moderated scope, I believe it's what it's called. It's early on scope. It's a very good substitute if you feel that is the case. Moving on, this is the 200 damage quick scope build. As you see, the aim spread on the 200 damage build is frankly atrocious, and changing that stock will not help it at all. The aim spread on a bolt action is directly associated with the damage output. The scope I'm using is the EMI Rival. It's a great scope for quick scoping. It's pretty much like a dedicated quick scoping scope. That sounded weird, but yeah. And yeah, that's basically a very simple build. This is the brainchild of mine. I decided I wonder how low I can get a hip spread on the bolt action, and that's how it went. 470 is exactly as low as it can go, I believe. Maybe with a take and go one step. Like 1/10 of a point lower, but really at that point, who cares? Scope is completely preference on this kind of thing, and also as you can see, the recoil is high, and the spread and the fire rate is very low, which is fair because, well, as you'll see when I test it here, it's this is just against bots, by the way, just showing you what the spread looks like on a non-static crosshair. This to show you kind of how tight it actually is. And as you can see, it's pretty effective on bots anyway. Well, it's effective on people, but it's really more for a last ditch kind of thing. It's hard as crap to to do really well with the hip fire bar in a real game, as you'll see coming up here. Now, let's see. Big things for the hipfire one is whatever you do not overcommit to an opponent. As you'll see here, I was tending to chase people around far too much, when probably your best bet is to take a quick shot if you don't get it, or if you don't get it, run. Just ignore them, because they'll probably know where you are, and then you're gonna get shot. Because you cannot compete with an assault rifle. Or an assault rifle, or any fully automatic weapon for that matter. Your bread and butter with this hipfire bar will be to ambush people with it, or more so, I'd probably say, be to do a more traditional sniper role, and just use it as a last ditch. And it's very effective in that. I was just thinking around with it in a different game, and man, oh man, it did a good job. Make sure to melee. You'll see me meleeing quite a bit in this video. Obviously, that can be said for a lot of guns, but particularly in this case because you're good more on semi-close range, but when it's ultra close, you'll have a lot of trouble against anyone with a fully automatic weapon, or even a semi-automatic weapon if they do the hipfire CR. So meleeing is your best friend. Not to mention the fact that you have to actually reload the bolt every time you fire, which obviously means you cannot shoot fast, even if you wanted to. So yes, as you can see there, it's pretty much a guaranteed 2-shot. A method I was using in a different game when I was playing around with it was that if you are in close quarters, to get a shot and do a quick melee, very, very effective, almost a guaranteed kill on everybody. So keep that in mind. Also, a thing I did also was I lowered the recoil a little bit, and made the fire rate a little bit better by changing out the muzzle to the second to last muzzle. Or not the last muzzle, it's the long one. It's a really accurate muzzle, and here's my Trololo moment. Anyway, let's see here. And as you can see, it's also a very high risk, high reward build. Definitely very rewarding when you do well with it, because you just feel so awesome just being able to hit fire thing and get like an awesome headshot. That just never gets old. Anyway, and I think we'll be finishing up the gameplay for this relatively quickly here. The big points to this build and sniping in general: being mobile, very important. A stationary sniper is a dead sniper in Blacklight. And yeah, we'll be moving on to the 200 damage quickscope build next. I unfortunately did not get all the video. I forgot to hit the recording button earlier. Unfortunately, those are my 2 best kills of the entire video, which is really, really sad. I got 2 perfect quickscoping kills thing. But yes, moving on. This one is at the 200 damage. Normally, I would highly advise you never to go to 200 damage for a sniper. They nerfed it so hard, and rightfully so, because when the game first came out, 200 damage would still net you a perfect aim, and there was absolutely no reason to use a sniper that wasn't 200 damage. I think they may have nerfed it slightly too hard, maybe, but that's a conversation for another day. The moral of the story is, it's definitely not as effective as you would think it would be in close quarters. It has 86 spread, and while when you're up in close and personal, that's really low. The problem with that is, if the opponent has over 200 health and an automatic weapon, you are pretty much screwed. So, as you can see here, it's great for just quickly flanking someone and popping a shot off on them. But what I realized was, at this point, I mean, my hipfire one is almost more effective at doing this than this is, which really kind of drove the whole point to me that quickscoping and blacklight, while some people like to do it, in my opinion, not an effective strategy. Anyways, moving on. Use your ambush cover. And always, I think I mentioned this. Whenever you see like a chance, like if you see a shot, if you can take a shot that wasn't very good, I would advise you not to take it. Only take the optimal shots with this weapon. Like make sure you set yourself up for optimal shots, but don't ever push it, because you will find a lot of times that because people, you don't necessarily show up on radar, but when a bullet whizzes past someone's head and hits the ground, they'll oftentimes know where you are. But yeah, that was a shorter video because I didn't like the build. I didn't think it was very good. This here is a dedicated sniper build. Doing what the bolt action in reality does best. As you can see here, the big thing, headshots. It's all about headshots. Even my opinion of the 200 damage build, why I don't think it's effective, is because most people do run over 200 in health, or slightly over, and all it takes is 1 point, and whoops, you're not going to get the kill. unless you use incendiary, which by the way, it's extremely strong on snipers, due to the fact that it does like a 10% increase. Has 110% damage total, which on a high damage weapon is insane. So yes, if you're looking for cheap, easy damage, incendiary you will never go wrong with incendiary. Moving on though, as I said before, make sure you stay mobile. Don't be afraid to move. Camping is probably the worst thing you can do as a sniper in Blacklight. All the good snipers in this game, just knowing I am not one of those. Definitely not one of the good snipers in Blacklight. But all the good snipers, they will move. They change their position constantly. In fact, a lot of them are very aggressive too. The reason I say you gotta keep moving is because of HRV. People know where you are almost all the time. You can sort of get the jump on people when they don't, like say they forget, or they weren't able to take in the whole field with HRV. But 99% of the time, they don't know where you are, or any of the decent players don't know where you are. So that said, you gotta make sure that you keep moving, otherwise they will surround you and they will destroy you. That's just plain and simple. Let's see here. You actually can camp. I didn't forget about that. If you use what's called the HRV Blackout or the HRV Cloak, you can stay stationary. Although, for a time, the HRV Blackout, however, produces a large blue bubble around your body, which, for obvious reasons, is not the greatest thing in the world. Oh, here I was gonna talk about taking time with shots. Make sure. I mean, even taking a fraction of a second longer to take a shot can mean the difference between missing completely or a nice clean headshot too. Especially considering headshots are so important. However, that said, obviously taking too long gets a lot of bad snipers killed. Because, I mean, you can see when I that right there, I think my first shot was probably too quick. The second shot took a fraction of a second longer, right between the eyes. So make sure you keep that in mind while sniping. It's not, you gotta kind of strike up more of a rhythm, in a sense, not be too fast or too slow. Also, I forgot to mention, railings. Railings are probably your worst enemy while you're sniping. Like, railings are the worst. Let's see here. Oh, yes, of course. Secondary weapons. Let's talk a little bit about secondary weapons. As a sniper, your backup weapon is, as a dedicated sniper I should say, your backup weapon is tremendously important. On this build, I forgot to switch my backup weapon. I'm using the revolver. Well, in some games, it's actually a very good backup sniper weapon. This game, however, it is, in my opinion. I would probably recommend, if you're sniping, to either carry one of three things: machine pistol, shotgun, or shotgun ARK. Why is that? They're all shotgun ARK and the machine pistol obviously are automatic weapons. They put a lot of lead down range. Very, very helpful when like the shit hits the fan as when you're sniping. The shotgun is great. It's really a great sniping tool as well. It's not a sniper backup because it has the ability to almost one-shot or two-shot most people, and still has a relatively high rate of fire. As you can see here, revolver could have potential. And also you saw it's knowing on the revolver. It's really bad with the revolver. Do not spam shots. It's not gonna work. It's not accurate. You're better off aiming carefully, because it only takes typically 2 shots with the revolver to drop somebody. Just aim carefully, and you'll be fine. As you can see there, in close quarters, quickscoping dynamics also work. This is also why quickscoping is probably the greatest thing ever, because, well, as a dedicated quickscoping build, because you can do that with just about any scope in this game. which is kind of why it's different from things like Call of Duty and such. That right there, never hip fire with a dedicated sniper. Use a hip fire sniping build. You're gonna be messing around with that. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention that's probably the most important of all: using HRV effectively. I cannot stress this enough as a sniper. It's your #1 tool to prevent things like that happening. Although that was probably just me being dumb. I'll probably cover more tips about HRV usage in a different video. Anyway, that was it for the bolt action sniper video. If you have any questions please leave them in the comment section below the video. If you like the video or want to see more from me, please do subscribe. I do definitely appreciate it. It's a very new channel. For the next video, hopefully I'll get it out a little sooner than this one. I'll be covering the combat rifle. It'll be a kind of a similar video to this one. I also have a couple unique ideas for the combat rifle as well. That said, that's it.